And the vast majority of scholars have concluded that Mark's gospel is likely the first of the synoptics to be written. I strongly agree with that. Early in my career, I heard a scholar called William Farmer, who became a good friend over, until his death in 2000, 2001, round about then. I heard him saying that the problem with the theory of Markan priority is that there are no new arguments for it. No one's come up with any new arguments for it. And the young me thought, challenge accepted. And so I tried to come up with fresh arguments for Markan priority because I thought if I'm so convinced about it, there must be more arguments there that haven't been presented before. So I wrote an article in 1998 called Fatigue in the Synoptics, in which I argued that you can see in the way that Matthew uses Mark and the way that Luke uses Mark certain moments where they change bits of their source at the beginning of a passage, but then drift into the wording of the passage as you go through. And since you could find lots of examples of this in Matthew's use of Mark and lots of examples in Luke's use of Mark, but you can't find any in Mark's supposed use of Matthew or Luke, I thought, okay, I think we're onto something here. So that's one fresh argument that I brought forward. And it drew on, the term wasn't mine. I adopted the term from Michael Golder, but he didn't use it as an argument for Mark and priority. And I drew on other scholars' work on that. But I am very pleasantly surprised that article has had the impact that it has because it's 27 years since I wrote it, and it's nice that people still quote it. So really, that's the first foundation stone. When I wrote my book, The Case Against Q, which you mentioned, I called chapter 2 "Setting in Place the Cornerstone," and it was all about building on the idea of Mark and priority. But if
Mhm.
you are going to build on the idea of Mark and priority, you've got to establish Mark and priority first. So I think that's the fundamental piece. That's the key bit of the puzzle that you've got to get in place first of all.